about the reasons behind this protest. Where do you stand in this?
In the issue of bad governance, this particular protest, let us be very clear, first of all, that protest or voicing one's opinion on any issue to do with governance, whether it is good governance or bad governance, is a right, is a basic human right, and therefore should be allowed. But we cannot hide away from the fact that in Nigeria, before now, we have had situations where going all the way back to the times of Lekki, going all the way back to when protests were organized and Nigeria was occupied against Jonathan, and he eventually was made to leave office. Some governors protested all the way to the Congress in America. There are so many forms of protest that has gone on in this country. I personally have been a victim of reaction to protest. So, in my opinion, as a person, there is no doubt that there is bad governance. Nobody is saying that there is no bad governance in Nigeria. It's been going on for a very, very long time. But I am most concerned as a mother, as a grandmother, as an elder stateswoman, as a leader, if you like, that indeed, when the government says, oh, don't do this protest, yes, because uh, hoodlums are going to take it over. Once I begin to hear that, I become very, very worried. Because if you know hoodlums are going to take over, let's get rid of the hoodlums. So, but let's move a little bit forward. Um, is this protest going to make things better for Nigerians? Perhaps it is. Now, are Nigerians going to be sacrificed in the process of this protest? This is my major, my primary concern. Should we now begin to insist that we have people who will take responsibility for what we have identified? I mean, you and I, everybody, have identified as bad governance. People are starving. People, they're not just hungry, people are starving. People are dying because they cannot afford medical attention. Women are dying, pregnant women are dying, their children are, there's so many things are going on all over the world. But we're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about Niger Delta. So we are saying, I am amongst the people that are being very cautious of this protest, not because it is wrong to have this protest, but first of all, who are the people behind the protest? You know, you must have a protest, but I'm a little bit worried now when I don't know who is calling for this protest, and are they going to be there? Do we remember in 2012, when Nigeria was occupied, the present president was in the front, Buhari was in the front, Wole Soyinka was in the front, my late dearest friend, Yinka Odumaki, and his wife, Pastor Tunde Bakari, so many renowned Nigerians known were in those protests. So protest is not a new thing, and I'm not saying people should not have protests
Yeah, but
because
Ankio, let me interrupt you because you talked about the fact that you don't know the leaders of the protest, but a lawyer, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebunolu Adegboruwa, did write to the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of the DSS, Directorate of State Service, stating that he is loyal to the group. Don't you think that's a face of some sort of
oh,
face?
definitely,
If you say he's not the organizer, but he's their
yes,
lawyer, which means he has identified them.
okay, fine. No, he has not. He has identified himself as their lawyer, but he has not identified them.
But he
My
knows them.
lawyer is not me. My lawyer is not me. He's representing me. And I don't have to go to court for my lawyer to represent me. With all due respect to the senior advocate, he is representing a group or a face. But who are those people? Put that aside. Today in Nigeria, take for instance, in the Niger Delta, in the forests, in the farms of my people, I'm talking about Niger Delta now, we have people, strangers, we don't know who they are, we don't know where they're from. They claim to be Nigerians, that's great, but are they from my local government? No, they are not, but they are there. Now, what if in the process of this protest, which is for me, it qualifies the situation Nigerians are in, including me, we are in, justifies a protest. But now, my worry is if, for instance, a protest is held in Port Harcourt and all of a sudden there is mayhem and people are killed, what it will amount to is that Niger Delta people have killed people. Police people have killed Niger Delta people. Niger Delta people have killed police people. Niger Delta people have killed themselves in the process of protest. And that is my major and primary concern, not because of any other reason, because if it is for the sake of protest, I've just mentioned to you that the president today himself, going back to the days of Nadeko, is a protester. And so therefore, the president cannot pretend, APC cannot pretend. And so when we are being cautious about the effects, the lives, the danger that the protest poses, if it were just ordinarily that we will be allowed to come out and protest, I very likely will be there to protest because I too have grievances. But those grievances, me as a person, I will not risk my life anymore for grievances within Nigeria anymore, because is it worth it to die in the process of making a statement in Nigeria? No, it is not. And when these protests are being held, it is not enough to say bad governance. You've mentioned the issue of Abakari. I mean, when we're talking of oil and gas, we're not even considering the people of the Niger Delta. We're not even, first of all, considering the pollution, the polluted water, the sickness. I know people, including myself, that today have medical conditions that are directly related to the fact that we have lived in this pollution for 3, 4, 5 decades in this region. People are dying because some people want to own oil wells, because Nigeria insists that this oil belongs to it. And therefore, come rain, come shine, it must take this. We're talking about Dangote not getting crude oil. We're talking about making concession for Dangote. These are things that we must sit down and discuss. If we're truly in a place where people are listening, we should be able to sit down and discuss these things. For instance, why should Dangote be given concession so that he pays for the crude oil in naira? Why should he pay for it in naira? Other people are buying it now.
Okay, there's some technical issue there, which I think we will quickly resolve in the next couple of minutes. But Ankio, if you can still hear me, you said that there's a possibility that hoodlums could hijack the protests. And
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I just want to ask you, if government has said that they have intelligence that in one particular case, the government said that the foreign elements could be involved in the protest and they could hijack it. My worry is this not similar to you telling me that, okay, some people are making profit from the subsidy regime in the downstream sector of the oil industry. So instead of going to stop the people who are doing criminal activity, who are committing crimes against the people by raping the subsidy regime, you remove the subsidy completely and make the people suffer for it. And I'm saying that in connection with government's assertion that they have identified, they have intel that the protest could be hijacked. If they have identified it, why not deal with the source of the threat and allow the people their constitutional right to protest?
That's what I just said. That's exactly what I said. And as long as the government is not able to do that, then it is sensible for people not to take that risk, where very clearly people are going to come out and hijack a process that ought to be a genuine protest of expressing our reaction to the condition that Nigeria finds itself in. Let's also be clear in one thing, where yes, Tinubu's regime is today, but a lot of things also happened in Buhari's regime. Now, we going back to the issue of the crude oil issue. We all know that, if we all don't know, I know, because I grew up in the creeks, I live in the creeks, I am from the creeks. I know that what is going on in the creeks is just a tip of the iceberg. The real issue is that the oil is being taken out through the creeks into ships that are anchored off the mouth of the ocean within the riverine areas. These ships do not belong to Ankio Briggs. They do not belong to Tompolo. They belong to international companies. They belong to international people. They fly international flags. They do not fly Nigerian flag. Who are these people? And who are the people buying this crude oil? From these thieves that are also Nigerians, and most of them are domiciled in Abuja. They are not domiciled in Port Harcourt. They are not. We're suffering in Port Harcourt. They are not domiciled. If they're domiciled here, the money they are stealing will be spent in Port Harcourt. It is not earlier on, somebody is talking about a white Rolls Royce steaming. Whatever the reason, that's just an abuse of whatever power that comes with. And I do not believe that God himself is happy, but I'm not going into religion. I am a Christian, and I worship God and I believe in God. Let's put that aside. Let's come back to the issue of the protest. The issue of the protest. Do people really, the ordinary Nigerian, the woman who is picking periwinkle in my village, is she being subsidized for the bottle of kerosene that she buys to put in a lantern to use in the night because there is no electricity? Is she being subsidized? No. The person that is being subsidized, if there is subsidy, and I've never believed, we don't believe that there is anything like subsidy. You take crude oil by arrangement and you refine it outside of Nigeria, where we have 3 or 4 refineries lying dead in Nigeria, 2 or 3 in the Niger Delta region. And you take my crude oil, by negotiation, not by a Niger Delta man or woman, by other Nigerians, and you refine it, you say, and you bring it in, you say, and you determine that you have overspent from the free crude that you didn't pay for the crude. These people lifting this crude to go and refine are not paying for it. They should show us how they're paying for it. They are taking it out, borrowing it, selling it, and now paying the money back. And even at that, they're not paying the whole money back. They say, oh, we overspent. We're owing China. We're owing this person. We're owing that person. Therefore, you still have to subsidize us after I have given you free crude. I should now also steal from the Niger Delta people. Furthermore, impoverish the Niger Delta people, make them sick, hoping that they will all die in the process of these sicknesses, so that some few Nigerians and a cabal outside of Nigeria will continue to get rich. And you're saying that people should not protest. People have a right to protest. But I am worried, and that's my position.
Okay.
I am worried that people will be killed and arrested in the name that these are the people that were sent to come and score. That's what happened at Lekki. We all saw what happened in Abuja in broad daylight. SUVs
Ankio.
dropping off people in slippers
Yeah.
and shorts to come and attack people who were peacefully protesting. Those are my worries.
Your worry is also the worry of quite a number of people who have also dug up videos of things that happened during the NSAS protest in the year 2020. For instance, one of the videos I saw 2 days ago, or was it yesterday morning, was a video that I had seen before. I saw it in 2020 of an SUV, most likely on one of the streets of Ogun State, maybe Abeokuta, I do not know. But the color of the taxi cab in that video is that of Ogun State. An SUV that was removing hoodlums, machete-wielding hoodlums, and all of that. And that brings a question to mind. The accusation was that government at that time sponsored hoodlums to bring violence into the protest at that time to scuttle it. Now, where do we stand really here? Government is saying there's likelihood of violence, and you have also said that you are scared. You want a protest, but you do not want violence. But who's pointing the finger? Who is accusing who now?
The government is accusing that they have intelligence, and it also happened during the NSAS time, mind you, that there are people, hoodlums are going to take over the protest. That was after it has gone on peacefully for a very long time, a few days. It had gone on for quite a while before we started hearing this. We saw hoodlums attacking peaceful protesters in Lagos. We saw them, I don't know about Ogun, we saw them in Abuja, where dark suit wearing aides opened the door of the SUV. It was probably what do you call it? A bulletproof vehicle. I don't know. I'm speculating here now. Now, opening doors, and these hoodlums, as you quite rightly said, but let's not tear shirts. It is Ogun, Abuja. Where does it matter? Port Harcourt. The fact is, you and I now agree that we saw these things. Now, my concern in this particular instance is that the government may very likely be right. And if the government is right, that this is what is going to go on. But mind you, as a caveat, the government today that is right today about that hoodlums are going to take over are still the same people at that time, not elected into government, but were part of the government.